You can even stick it in my ass if you want to. This is Reddit Bytes, and welcome to your weekly source of Reddit stories. Today it's time to explore the top posts from Ask Reddit. Let's dive right in. What's the dumbest thing an ex ever said to try and win you back? A month after we had broken up, I started dating a new guy. My ex told me that he would cut his hair to look like the new guy's, dress like the new guy, and act exactly like the new guy if I got back with him. She cheated. I said, so long, get out of my house. She did, moved in with this guy. She showed up a few weeks later with her cat and some belongings and said she made a mistake, wants me back because she needs me to take care of her. Sorry, what? You're trying to move in while cheating on me and simultaneously asking me to pamper you? If we break up, it's just a matter of time before you ask for your laptop back and I use it for school, so I'm going to have to drop out and my kids are going to be raised in poverty. Do you really want that on your conscience? Edit. I lent him my extra laptop before I realized he bleeds all the women in his life dry of all their resources. I wasn't about to let him keep it after the shit he put me through. I got my laptop back when we broke up, and he destroyed the power cord and messed up the laptop to the point that it wouldn't run. I fixed it, but lesson learned. You'll never be with anyone like me. Well, yeah. That's what I'm sure hoping. My abusive ex-husband sent me a long, impersonal email 3 years after I left him. My favorite part was, we should get back together. I don't want to be with you, but by some miracle of God, I might grow to tolerate or even enjoy your company. He was serious. I laughed for about 2 minutes and then sent screenshots to my boyfriend. He decided to make a grand gesture for my birthday, which was about 6 months after the breakup. He had a cake made in the shape of Australia. He had it shipped to me in a locked steamer trunk, keys in the card. All of this was based off of a line from Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. She may cry, but her tears will dry when I hand her the keys to a shiny new Australia. This is after I found out that I was the other woman, and I had started to date someone else. It was just painfully awkward. Side note, the cake was dry. Broke up with douchebag ex while in Mexico with my mom. My mom. He said I cheated on him and told me my dad died to get away from my spoiled princess ways. He spent the next 6 hours calling me and my mom trying to win me back. Roaming charges were disgusting, so we didn't answer or read the texts. Way too expensive. Finally, my mom got pissed and answered the phone. He was breathing heavy. My mom asked what he wanted. He said, I just want to talk to her. You have to let me talk. My mom said, fine, talk. He said all Sarah had to do was, and then my mom hung up because she didn't want to hear more about what I did wrong. After reading over 100 texts about what I did wrong, how awful I was, how much he misses me, the girl he slept with, the lies he told me, the apologies for the lies, the endless litany of how he'll change, etc., etc., I turned off my phone and didn't turn it on until the next morning. That morning I had almost 100 missed calls and 18 voicemails. I didn't listen to any of them. Fuck you, Ken. He broke up with me by sort of ghosting me after 2 years together. He wouldn't show up when we had plans, then text me later and apologize and say sweet things, but go on to ignore my calls for a week. He set his status to single on Facebook, so I figured it was done and deleted him. Almost a year later, he sent me a text saying he was sorry, that he was willing to talk and answer any questions I had, and that he regretted what he did because I was the second best girlfriend he'd ever had. I shit you not. I told him I didn't need his answers and didn't want to be his friend. He never bothered me after that. I once dated this guy who literally carved my name into his hand. He said he did it because he couldn't afford a tattoo, and when I broke up with him for it, he said, but your name is carved into my hand. I'm not sure if that was supposed to mean me stay, or if he at that moment realized how stupid he was. I'm just kidding. We are not really broken up. Me. TF, no sorry, that's not how this works. Edit. Some more info. She broke up with me over the phone, during which I tried to rationalize why we really are broken up because if there is, just tell me. Just tell me who he is. Tell me who you're Me. I'm not doing this. You're acting crazy. I'm hanging up. Him. If you hang up on me, I will kill myself. Me. Stop this. You can't guilt me into staying on the phone. Now I've got shit to do. I have to go. Him. What do you have to do? You're just standing in your living room talking to me on the phone. You don't look very busy to me. I can see you, you know. It was a long-distance relationship. He lived in a town across the state. Stalking is not flattering. It's terrifying. Broke up with ex, yet she would still text me constantly. One day she tells me she has cancer and is in need of immediate surgery. I ask her what specifically, and she tells me she has cervical cancer. I ask for facts, and she throws some at me. What she neglected to remember was that I worked in medicine, in a surgical unit, with 2 OBGYNs. I helped them daily performing the exact surgery she said she needed. When she was done, I replied with a very long text detailing how everything she said wasn't factual. Never heard from her again. When I first tried to break up with her, she just kept saying no until I gave in. She said no for more than 10 minutes. The second time I tried to break up with her, she pulled the same trick. But this time, ready for it, I beat her at her own game and said yes in response. When I got bored of this back and forth, I said, "Well, it's a yes, so I'm sorry. Goodbye." She then messaged my brother and sister-in-law, whom she had never met, telling them that I needed to call her back right away because she was unstable and didn't know what she was capable of. When my brother told me that, I told him to ignore her. She continued to message them saying everything from she was pregnant to she deserves better, she deserves me. After 24 hours of relentlessly contacting my family, a family of 7 total, I turned my phone back on and saw I had 150 texts and 19 voicemails from her. As an aside, this is where I learned an iMessage can only be so long. When it exceeds the maximum character count, you have to press on the message, and it is opened up on the Notes app. When I called her back, she immediately started yelling at me, saying things like, "How dare I? Who do you think you are? She deserves better." I told her I would hang up and block her everywhere I could if she didn't stop yelling at me. I called to have a conversation about why I wanted to break up with her so she could get some closure. She calmed down, and in the coolest tone I've ever heard her speak, she told me that she would tell her dad that I was physically and verbally abusive to her if I didn't get back together with her. Her dad was not a particularly big or scary guy, but he works with my dad where I also work, and it would have been a career ender for me if they had believed her. I decided to roll the dice and tell her that her dad knows she has mental issues, and there is no way he would believe her. I knew her dad before I knew her, so I was 25% confident he would take my side. She did have mental issues. For whatever reason, she believed me and went back to crying and yelling at me. I said goodbye. Please don't contact me again. After 6 more months of repeated attempts to contact me, I found out she got engaged to some poor guy. I don't know how, who, why, or when it happened, but I was happy it was finally over for me. Unfortunately, I was wrong. She will still follow and unfollow my girlfriend and her dog's Instagram account, as well as like and unlike 2-plus-year-old pictures on their accounts. She's now married as of a few months ago, and is still pulling this shit every once in a while. If she wasn't so messed up, or if I didn't respect her dad so much, I would have contacted the guy she married and told him. But at the end of the day, it's just not worth it. I may have handled it poorly, but she was a complete nightmare to date. She had crazy mood swings, would yell at me in front of my family and friends, was incredibly bossy, and we had nothing in common. Only a crazy person would think the relationship was going somewhere. My new girlfriend is terrible. I miss you a lot. Like I sometimes regret leaving you. You are so much better than her. Just so you know, I'm going to dump her soon, after we go on vacation, because I'm using her miles to buy my ticket. There are so many things wrong with that. And the vacation was 2 months away. I told him he had made decisions, so I didn't feel bad for the fact he missed me and never spoke to him again. Tried the old fake pregnancy to keep me around. Only thing is, I'm the female. I'm not sure how he thought he could convince me I was pregnant. Your sisters are hotter than you, but I like your personality best. Thanks a peach, but no thanks. You can even stick it in my ass if you want to, after I dumped her for cheating. I responded with, no matter which of your holes I stick it into, I always be fucking an asshole. Honestly had a girl tell me she would go to the police saying I'd raped her unless we got back together. We were together 4 years and the very thought of raping someone sickens me, let alone someone I loved for that long. She was absolutely toxic for the whole relationship, but I was young and naive. Edit, just remembered she pulled the fake pregnancy miscarriage thing on me too. Ex tried to file rape, assault charges, made it look more legit by having her kids tell a story at school. 2 weeks after I left, I get a phone call saying she had slit her wrists and was in medically induced coma, hung up, and never looked back. My ex contacted me and asked if we could talk so she could apologize. I agreed to talk to her. Within the first couple minutes of the conversation, she started randomly talking about what it would be like to be my BDSM pet or slave. When I said I'd expected her to apologize about how she treated me during the relationship, she berated and insulted me for wanting an apology. Then I said I'd hope she'd at least apologize for threatening to kill my cat, which I feared she'd do since she actually did try to kill her mother's dog. She said, I guess we'll have to agree to disagree about the value of useless animals. At that point, I just quit talking to her. When he realized I was serious about moving out of state without him, he ran to his car, came back and proposed to me with a dollar bill he had folded into a weird ring. A month before I left state, he said he still loved me. A month after that, he knocked up his best friend's girlfriend, bullet dodged. Now that you've graduated college, you'll have more time to spend with me. I had caught her and my roommate in bed. She proceeded to blame me for spending all of my time at class instead of doing what she wanted to do. She was not in college and he had no problem ditching class to sleep with her. He moved out, they found a place together, he flunked out. Wonder why. And after graduation, she thought all would be forgiven. We were married for 9 years with 3 kids. One day she just didn't come home. She'd moved in with her boss. I'd known something was up for a while, but at the time, I wasn't brave enough to address it. 4 months later, after any of us had barely heard from her, she called and asked for the Keurig. She wanted to pick it up when the kids weren't at home. An argument followed. I remember her insinuating that I just keep it there in case she ever comes back. I remember laughing and asking her if she thought I was holding that door open for her. She said, "You were always so polite," as if I were offering. I apologized for confusing her, hung up, and made a sweet cup of Folgers hazelnut coffee. Thanks for watching.